You know that feeling of being stuck in a room waiting for someone who never shows up? Well, there's an uncomfortable truth no one wants to hear: the waiting is exactly what keeps this twin flame separation alive and beating. While you're there visualizing the return, planning the reunion, and counting the days, you're actually building taller and taller walls between you and your twin flame. It's as if your own expectations are pushing this person farther away. This paradoxical dynamic, where the more you want the union, the more you repel it, is the secret that will completely transform your twin flame separation journey. What most people don't understand is that there's an invisible button, an energetic switch that, when activated correctly, triggers a radical shift in the frequency you're sending out into the universe. This isn't some passive technique where you sit back and wait for things to magically fall into place while you sip chamomile tea, far from it. It's a deeply active action, the most powerful one the divine feminine energy possesses, capable of reversing the cycle of twin flame detachment and initiating the end of twin flame separation. Once you learn how to activate this switch, you're not just hopeful anymore, you're fully in control of your reality. And here's the best part: it works because it targets the true core of what keeps the separation alive, and you're about to understand exactly what that is. The separation you're experiencing right now isn't some random cosmic accident or universal punishment, it's a perfect reflection of the energetic dependency that exists within you. Your twin flame, the one we call the runner, can only return when the energy he mirrors in you, that desperate, suffocating need, is finally turned off. It's like trying to bring two magnets together with the same poles. No matter how hard you push, they just keep repelling each other. But when you change the polarity, then, my friend, the attraction becomes inevitable, and the unlocked twin flame union begins to manifest naturally in your reality. Now that you understand the paradox, there's an urgent question: what do you do with this information? If you keep going the same way you've been going, repeating the same patterns, doing the same visualizations, feeding the same desperate hope, the next few months will look exactly like the last ones. And you know how painful that is. But there is another path, a fork in the road where you can finally stop waiting and start truly living your life, building the reality of your twin flame union while the separation dissolves naturally. This shift doesn't happen by magic, it happens through practical, applicable knowledge that very few people actually have. The keys to transforming your twin flame journey are here, and you're moments away from receiving them. What separates the people who manage to end their twin flame separation from those who stay stuck in this endless cycle is just one thing: access to the right information applied at the right time. Thousands of people look for answers in forums, read generic law of attraction books, watch superficial videos, and nothing changes because none of that touches the root of the problem. Here, you're not going to receive empty platitudes. You're going to receive specific twin flame detachment techniques that will reconfigure your energetic frequency and position you for the inevitable return of your runner. If you're ready to stop living this repetitive nightmare and start writing a different story, subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any strategies. You open the door, I provide the keys, simple as that. But understand this: receiving the keys is only the first step. The real power emerges when you use them, when you turn twin flame detachment from a theoretical idea into a living practice in your daily life. So many people watch the content, agree with everything mentally, and then slip right back into their old patterns because they don't have a clear system to apply the changes. That's why, by subscribing now, you'll gain access not only to this video but to a structured protocol that will guide you through every phase of the twin flame journey with clarity and purpose. What comes next is where the real transformation happens, and you're about to discover that the power to end this separation was inside you all along, simply waiting to be activated. The deep truth. There's a truth most people going through twin flame separation never manage to see because it's too close, like that blind spot you can't catch in your car's mirror. The separation isn't something that happens to you, it's a living reflection of your energetic dependency, an external manifestation of what's unfolding inside your emotional and spiritual field. Think of a mirror. it doesn't create your image, it only reflects it. Your twin flame works the same way, especially when he's in the runner role. He reflects back to you, magnified and in high definition, exactly what you're broadcasting as frequency. And if what you're sending out is neediness, desperation, and dependency, then he can only reflect distance, avoidance, and even more separation. This understanding changes everything because suddenly you realize you're not waiting for him to change, you're waiting for yourself to. The consequence of this truth is brutally simple: the runner can only return when the energy he's reflecting, this intense need you feel, finally gets switched off. Not switched off in the sense of stopping your love for him, but in the sense of no longer needing him to feel complete, welcomed, or valid as a person. As long as you keep feeding that invisible current of, "I need him to be happy," he'll keep running because, on the deepest energetic level, he's literally fleeing from the energy that suffocates and pulls at him. This is a twin flame detachment dynamic where both of you are trapped, you in the waiting, and him in the running, and nobody gets out because you're dancing to the same sad song. Change only happens when someone finally stops dancing and shifts the frequency. And that someone has to be you. Here lies the true power of twin flame surrender. When you surrender to the reality that the separation only ends through your inner transformation, not through external persistence, you finally gain access to the unlocked twin flame union you've been searching for. This isn't a surrender of weakness, where you give up and lose hope, it's a surrender of wisdom, where you recognize that the only thing truly in your hands is your own frequency, your own choices, and your own evolution. When you begin working on these three pillars, something extraordinary happens. The energy that was holding the twin flame separation in place begins to dissolve, the energetic resistance starts softening, and the path to the end of twin flame separation opens naturally. The deep truth is this: you are the switch. Now let's learn exactly how to turn it on. Stage 1: Detaching from the outcome. The first thing you need to understand about detachment is that it has nothing to do with stopping your love for your twin flame. This is one of the biggest misconceptions circulating out there. True detachment is about stopping the obsessive planning of the union as if it were an architectural project, letting go of constantly visualizing his return, and ending that mental loop where you spend hours imagining the moment he finally wakes up and runs back into your arms. You know that habit of constantly refreshing WhatsApp hoping for a message, or accidentally driving past his house. All of that is energy being poured into building imaginary futures that keep you stuck in the present. The more you visualize the outcome, the more you mentally and emotionally project it, the more you create a frequency of lack that pushes away exactly what you want. It's contradictory, it's counterintuitive, but it works because the law of attraction doesn't respond to what you want, it responds to what you are, to the frequency you're emitting. This is where the switch happens. The question you ask yourself must radically change. Instead of waking up and thinking, "When is he coming back?" you need to retrain your mind to ask, "How can I elevate my now?" On the surface this shift seems tiny, but internally it triggers a seismic transformation. When you ask that question, your mind stops searching for signs that he's returning and starts searching for opportunities for growth, development, and joy in your own life. If you're unemployed, the question, "How can I elevate my now?" leads you to update your resume, take a specialization course, or send applications to companies you've always wanted to work for. If you've been neglecting your health, that question motivates you to start the workout you've been putting off, book a dermatologist appointment, or finally read that nutrition book sitting on your shelf. If your finances are messy, you begin crafting an investment plan, studying passive income, or seeking mentors who already have the stability you want. Life begins to move the moment you stop waiting for him and start building for yourself. The practical technique that makes this transition real and tangible is what I call the 5-minute daily commitment, and yes, it's just 5 minutes, nothing overwhelming. All the energy you used to spend thinking about him, replaying old conversations, imagining reconciliation scenarios, you're going to redirect that energy into actively elevating one specific area of your life for just 5 minutes a day. On Monday, You spend 5 minutes learning about personal investments and open an account on a real investment platform. On Tuesday, you build a detailed career plan, research job openings, maybe even send your resume. On Wednesday, you dedicate time to your health, start a workout, download an app like Strava or Strong to track your progress, or schedule that nutritionist appointment you've been putting off for months. On Thursday, you work on your spiritual and emotional growth, read a few pages of a self-development book like The Power of Habit or Mindfulness for Beginners, meditate, or journal. What happens is that, little by little, you begin building a life so vibrant, so full of movement and purpose, that the emptiness left by the twin flame separation starts being filled with something far more valuable, yourself. And here's the final paradox of stage 1, when you stop waiting for the outcome and begin creating outcomes in your own life, that's exactly when the twin flame mirroring reverses and your runner begins to feel the shift. Stage 2, detaching from the wound. Now we've reached the point where most people feel that tightness in their chest, because here you're about to understand something no one really wants to hear. Your twin flame doesn't return to make you happy, he returns to help heal the deepest wound inside you. This truth shatters the Hollywood-style romance surrounding twin flames, but that's exactly why it's so powerful. The separation isn't a punishment, it's a mirror reflecting your primary wound, that ancestral pain you've been carrying since childhood or even past lives. Maybe it's the fear of abandonment, the feeling of not being enough, the belief that love always leaves, or a deep conviction that you don't deserve to be fully loved. Your runner, in the dynamic of twin flame separation, is literally embodying that wound, acting as the mirror that forces you to confront what you've avoided seeing your entire life. And until you heal that core wound, no twin flame detachment technique will work, because the root of the problem will continue feeding the separation. This is where the real switch happens, where the magic begins. You must start actively thanking the separation. Yes, it sounds completely insane when you first read it. But think about it, this separation is what finally revealed that there was a wound that needed healing. Without the twin flame separation, you would have continued living on the surface, never diving into those deep, dark waters where your real pain lives. The separation was actually a disguised gift, a spiritual catalyst that gave you the opportunity to finally do the inner work that matters. When you're able to feel genuine gratitude for this, not forced gratitude, not performative gratitude, but a gratitude that rises from a deep recognition that your pain led you to growth, you shift the vibrational frequency of your entire twin flame journey so intensely that the universe itself feels it. It's as if you're saying, I've learned the lesson. I've seen the wound. And now I am healing. At that moment, there's no longer any reason for the separation to continue existing. Here is the shocking revelation that needs to land in your consciousness: twin flame separation only ends when you're truly grateful for it. Not when he comes back, not when you finally get that message you're waiting for, not when everything works out the way you planned, but now, while you're living through it. This means doing the real therapeutic work, maybe seeing a psychologist or holistic therapist to explore those ancestral wounds, reading deep books like The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk to understand how trauma manifests, or doing regression sessions to uncover where that not enough feeling comes from. It means journaling all the ways the separation forced you to grow, all the moments when you discovered strength you didn't know you had. It means sitting in meditation and talking to that wound, apologizing to yourself for not caring for it sooner, and promising that from now on, you will. When you do this deep work and can genuinely feel gratitude, you activate the unlocked twin flame union, because the very energy that was holding the twin flame detachment in place, that wound, has finally been touched and has begun to heal. And it's precisely at this moment that the runner feels the shift and begins to move. Stage 3, detaching from time. We're now reaching the heart of the transformation, and this is where you discover that time, the thing that feels so real, so linear, so unforgiving, is actually an illusion inside the quantum field where your twin flame journey truly takes place. You've been living in a frequency of uncertain future, that feeling that anything could happen, or not. The reconciliation always feels a few months away, yet never actually arrives. This vibrational uncertainty is exactly what keeps the twin flame separation alive and pulsing, because you're constantly looking for signs, expecting changes, checking to see if something shifted, and this continuous checking resets the clock of desperation every single time. It's like someone who can't fall asleep because they keep checking the time, waiting for the hour to pass. The more they look, the slower time seems to move. Your energetic body is tuned to the frequency of waiting, and as long as you stay there, twin flame mirroring will keep reflecting that same energy of uncertainty right back at you. The switch that changes everything, the hidden force that few truly understand, is shifting your vibration from uncertainty to certainty that the union has already happened. This isn't empty positive thinking or shallow self-help, it's a deep recalibration of your neural and energetic frequency. You must stop believing the union will happen and begin existing as if it has already arrived, not in denial or escapism, but with a level of genuine certainty so real that your entire biology reorganizes around this new truth. When you wake up with that certainty, your body releases different hormones, your posture shifts, and your decisions align with someone who is already in union, not someone waiting. You start making choices from a place of wholeness, not fragmentation. This frequency shift is so powerful that it literally begins redirecting the events of your physical reality to match that certainty, and that's when the miracles start unfolding. To turn this from an abstract concept into a living, practical reality, you'll follow the 21-day protocol, the protocol designed to rewire your neural patterns and create a new habit of certainty. For 21 consecutive days, neuroscience tells us this is the minimum time needed to build a new neural pattern. You will live in the certainty that the twin flame union has already happened, actively ignoring any external evidence that suggests otherwise. If he doesn't reply to your messages, you know he's simply working through his own internal process before returning. If weeks pass without contact, you stay in the vibration that contact is imminent because the union is already a done deal in the quantum field. If friends say discouraging things like, "Forget him," or, "This is toxic," you hear them, but you don't vibrate at their frequency of doubt, you hold the calm certainty of someone who already knows how the story ends. This isn't delusion, it's frequency training. Practice living in certainty for these 21 days. In the morning, upon waking, feel in your body the reality of already being in union with your twin flame. Throughout the day, make decisions from that place of completeness. At night, fall asleep with the feeling that the end of twin flame separation is already real. When you manage to hold this vibration for 3 consecutive weeks, you don't just shift your neurology, you completely redirect the trajectory of your twin flame detachment and set in motion the inevitable return of your runner. Everything you've learned up to this point converges into one elemental truth: detachment is the most active and transformative power that the divine feminine energy possesses, and this is the kind of information that completely changes how you relate to your twin flame separation. It is not passivity, it is not resignation, it is not the energy of letting life take over while you drift aimlessly. It is, in fact, the strongest and most revolutionary act you can take. When you practice detachment from the outcome, you rebuild your life. When you practice detachment from the wound, you heal your soul. And when you practice detachment from time through the 21-day protocol, you realign your vibrational frequency with the reality of the union you desire. These are not 3 separate techniques, they are 3 movements of a sacred dance that takes you from a place of powerlessness to a place of true power. The divine woman within you does not need to beg, does not need to wait, does not need to shrink, she simply needs to vibrate at the correct frequency, and everything else follows naturally. When you understand that detachment is power, you stop seeing twin flame detachment as a failure and start seeing it as an opportunity for a deep spiritual masterclass. You stop being a victim waiting for someone to rescue you and become an alchemist turning lead into gold within yourself. The twin flame mirroring that once felt so painful now makes perfect sense. It is reflecting your evolution, your strength, your willingness to do the inner work that truly matters. Your runner is not distant because you are not enough, He is distant because you are still vibrating at a frequency that called separation into your reality. But now that you know the detachment button, now that you have the 3 clear steps, you are no longer the same person who started watching this video. You are someone who understands that the end of twin flame separation is not something that happens to you, it is something you create through your own transformation. And here is the truth I reinforce now: the unlocked twin flame union you seek is not found in a person, a date, or in any external event, it is within you, waiting to be activated. You have the keys. You have the map. You know exactly what you need to do over the next 21 days. The only thing missing now is for you to take that step, leave behind the comfort zone of familiar suffering, and enter the zone of power where you rebuild your life and your frequency. And when you do that, when you truly commit to these 3 steps of active detachment, something magical happens. Not because the universe is whimsical or because luck finally knocks on your door, but because you have finally become a magnet for the reality you always desired. What comes next is where you discover exactly how to navigate the most critical moment of this journey. Now you have the detachment button in your hands, you understand the 3 stages, you know how to apply them, and you have the map for the next 21 days clearly laid out before you. But there is one situation most people don't anticipate, and it happens precisely when everything starts working: your VAD begins to drop more slowly than you expected, or something even more challenging occurs: contact comes much sooner than you planned. Imagine being in the middle of the 21-day protocol, vibrating in certainty, rebuilding your life, and suddenly your twin flame sends you a message, or worse, shows up in person. At that moment, many people panic, lose their composure, fall back into old patterns of neediness and desperation, and the entire frequency they built collapses like a sandcastle. You may be perfectly prepared on the inside, but if you don't know exactly how to navigate that contact, how to respond, how to maintain your elevated vibration while interacting with him, you can ruin everything. And no, you don't want to take that risk after all the work you've done. That's why, before you officially begin the 21-day protocol, there is a masterclass that complements everything you've learned here and prepares you specifically for the moment contact arrives, because it will arrive, and you must be armed with the correct strategy. This masterclass is called "The Only Trick That Forces Your Runner to Contact You," and it explains exactly how to maintain your energy while you're talking, which words to use and which to avoid completely, how to create urgency without appearing desperate, and how to transform a simple "hey" into a catalyst for the twin flame runner returns. This is the most successful video on the channel because it solves the exact problem everyone faces when they are so close to achieving everything, and almost lose it because they don't know how to behave in that critical moment. You don't want to be one of those almost success stories, you want to be a story of complete transformation. So here is my invitation for you: click on the end screen and watch the masterclass, "The Only Trick That Forces Your Runner to Contact You," before you officially begin your 21-day protocol. Watch it now and don't get caught off guard when that contact comes. Because when you combine the deep knowledge of active detachment you just learned with the specific contact strategies you will receive in that masterclass, you don't just end the twin flame separation, you transform it into a union that is unbreakable, authentic, and truly sacred. Your life is about to change. You feel it. And now, go do the work. The universe is waiting for you.